So I recently built a cobblestone road for the Lego city. And while thinking about what to put around it, I ended up deciding on a park. But rather than start with the park, I wanted to figure out what would be a great centerpiece for it. And then it hit me. A money tree. Now you might be wondering, Zane, why a money tree? When I was growing up, my family really didn't have a lot of money. So whenever I wanted to buy something like a toy that we really couldn't afford, my dad would always ask me, does money grow on trees? He had his own way of teaching me lessons, and that's why to this day, I never say I need something. It's because I know it's a want, and there's a huge difference between the two. Anyways, while I know the money tree has significance in other cultures, for me when this set came out, it felt like a full circle moment. It was perfect. And I think it'll make for a great focal point in the park, so let's build it. So this is clearly the planter box that the whole tree will be built on top of, and then they want you to use snot pieces to encase everything together. This piece that you construct encases the whole planter box, and then you've got some decoration here, and I assume the tree will just build around this area. The Technic beam actually comes into play on bag 2. This cross piece forms the foundation for the whole tree. We've got it in here. Clearly a lot of snot being used in this build because this will clip on like so, and that forms that side of the tree. So at this point we use a Technic piece, and while it's not secure at first, we have this pin, and that's what's going to lock it all in place. And then we just start building around the tree to add to the detail. So now we just add on the limbs for the trees. There's also 4 clips around the tree, and you're able to add on more foliage on top of those. I've only had one real issue with the build so far, and it's the order of construction. So for example, these branches on the corners, they're a little bit tougher to put in because these ones get in the way. And it would make more sense if the instructions had these put on later. So what I ended up doing was I clipped these off and then put these in and then added these back in. Outside of that, it's looking fine. I'm excited to see how the last bag goes, and then I'm curious how I'll be able to put this into the city itself. A bit more repetition with the final bag. We added in 4 more branches here, and then topped it off with this piece to add more stability. And I'm starting to understand what my friend Outtakes meant when he told me that building trees is a labor of love. I met him at Brick Slopes earlier this year, and his group at West Valley Brick Builders built this incredible castle-themed mock. And he told me that he did the trees himself, but that they were a labor of love. And they're tedious. I'm starting to understand. If you're watching this, Outtakes, I get it now. That's all the pieces that I have left as I wrap this up. So here it is, the money tree. And I have to say that while the build was rather repetitive at times, I am quite happy with the end result. It looks great as a display piece, but more importantly for Lego City, I think it'll make a perfect centerpiece for the park. Now, how I integrate it into the park, I'm not quite sure yet. I do have some ideas. For starters, I need to remove all these gray tiles and replace them with these green ones to represent grass. And then I need to figure out if I want to remove this planter box and display the tree some other way, or if I want to have a hill on top or have some other encasing. I'm not quite sure, but I do think the tree needs some height because otherwise the minifigure size just won't look quite right because the tree needs to have some height on it. But that's a problem for future Zane, and I'll figure that out in the next video. But other than that, oh my God.